So there's been so many reports coming around recently where Apple is basically having a hard time as to why, essentially some iPhones aren't selling too well, and that they're going to have to kind of revitalize their strategy and completely change up how their current iPhone lineup probably looks like. But here's the thing. I have a few questions, for Apple basically, is why would anybody even buy an iPhone 14 Plus? Why would anybody purposely go out of their way to buy that iPhone, even an iPhone 14? If Apple, is completely having a hard time understanding why nobody's buying those iPhones, you have to ask yourself, why would anybody buy those iPhones in the first place? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if we take a look at iPhones, the whole entire iPhone lineup, you can see we have the iPhone 14, we have an iPhone 13, and we have an iPhone 14 Pro. Now that is great. I love having those types of iPhones laying around. That's a really cool thing. But here's the main issue. Why would anybody even consider an iPhone 14 when you can spend just a little bit more money on top of the 14 Plus, get an iPhone 14 Pro? Why would somebody buy an iPhone 14 when they can just spend that little bit more money and get an iPhone 14 Pro as well? But if you're already considering an iPhone 14, why wouldn't you just go and buy an iPhone 13 as of that point? That's another weird thing that Apple kind of hasn't, I don't know if they haven't considered it yet, but those iPhone 14s are sitting right there in the middle. And because Apple, on top of, before I even get there, just the pricing strategy alone is a weird thing. For having these iPhones so close to one another in price tag, there's really not a huge point. I think there should be, a bigger gap, not necessarily increasing the price of the top tier iPhones, but decreasing the price of the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini. I think that could alleviate a lot of that confusion there. And especially the biggest thing, in my opinion, are these similarities. It is crazy to me that Apple was able to release an iPhone like the iPhone 14 when it was such a minor upgrade from the iPhone, 13. I don't think we've ever seen that small of an upgrade before in our lifetimes. The iPhone 12 to the 13 was a big upgrade. The iPhone 11 to, not a big upgrade, but it was okay. The 11 to the 12 was a pretty big upgrade. The 10R to the 11 was a big upgrade. We didn't really have an iPhone before the 10R for the most part. So for those base ones, for every single year, there's been a pretty not a monumental upgrade, but a pretty big difference. This year, absolutely no difference. It's pretty much the same phone. They just upgraded a few camera features here and there. Maybe battery life is a little bit better, but they kind of gave us the same phone overall. And they kind of increased the price tag on us too, because they gave us that bigger model, which is the 14 Plus. So now we're creeping up in those, higher price tags, and nobody wants a big phone. Nobody, I guess, wants a small phone either. So if Apple can just focus in on making maybe 3 phones every year, the, base model like the 14, then the 14 Pro, 14 Pro Max, just like how they did with the iPhone 11 series, the iPhone XS series, I think that's probably the best way to go. And maybe make an iPhone mini as an iPhone SE, and you kind of encompass everything. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.